Over the last 7 days in the GTA, there have been quite a few sales that have been under $500,000. Now, a lot of them are going to be what you expect. They're going to be condos. But in today's video, I'm going to show you 5 sales that are all under $500,000. And one of them is probably going to surprise you more than the rest because it's actually a detached home. Stay watching this video. I'll show you where that detached home actually was as we go through some of the sales that have happened in the last 7 days across the Greater Toronto area. We're going to start it off with sale number 1, and that is in Oakville. It's at 55 Spears. It's a bachelor condo. To nobody's surprise, of course, something like this will end up under that $500,000 threshold. This one actually sold here for $335,000. It was listed for $325,000. Got a little bit of competition going on here and ended up selling it for slightly over the asking price. Of course, you're going to want to know, how big is the unit actually? Well, they've got it advertised as 0 to 500 square feet, and it looks like the square footage is not officially listed here, but it did have a 165 square foot terrace. So what's important is to see how this unit was laid out. The bachelors, we've seen them. They're not the most ideal, but let's take a peek here at what this layout looked like for everybody. And it was one of those typical bachelor layouts. This one does look like it has a Murphy bed to pull down here on the right, a little bit of storage, but the terrace is going to be really what sold a unit like this. Getting a terrace is a value add, no matter what type of unit. And obviously it was a value add here, but not to bring it to any kind of crazy price, $335,000. So this is what you're going to get in Oakville for $335,000 as of today. Keep in mind, everything we're looking at sold in the last 7 days. A lot of you guys have reached out asking for sales. So that's what we're doing. Not only listings, we will show you what's actually selling here in the GTA. Now, another unit that I do have for us here was in Brampton. This one sold for $470,000. It was what we call a stacked townhouse. It was a 1-bed, 1-bath. It had 2 parking spaces, which is nice if there's a couple or 2 people who need individual parking spots, and it was under 700 square feet. It was on the market for quite some time, so 74 days for this unit here, and we'll take a look at it and see why it took so long to sell. But let's just take a little peek and see what this one was purchased for, because it's always interesting to see where it was purchased and where it kind of ended up. So it was purchased back in 2018 for $395 and sold 2025, so 7 years later, for a little bit of a profit by the time they pay their expenses in terms of their previous land transfer tax, selling fees here, probably another purchase on the other end. They're not making much money, but that's fine. They're not losing money, which is always nice to see. And it doesn't look like it was, you know what? Looks like it possibly was a bank sale as well. So can't confirm, but LendHub does sound like it might be a bank sale. So let's take a peek at what you're going to get for $470,000 in Brampton. Similar space to what we saw in the other living space in Oakville. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but you know, you got a kitchen kind of situated in the center of your unit. This would be your entrance. And then you've got a little patio here, assuming bed or bath on this end here. So let's just take a peek. The mirrored backsplash, you may not like it, but it's actually a clutch move. On a small space, it'll make it feel a little bit bigger. So bedroom, reasonable size. Bathroom, it's great. At least it has a tub if you need for a kid. Give them a nice bath. And that's it. You got 1 garage space as well for a bit of storage. This is what the back half of the unit looks like. So this will be your garage for this particular unit. So nothing extravagant, nothing that's going to wow you, but all of that could come in under $500,000. Now, of course, it's a condo townhouse. There are fees associated with it. So let's take a peek here and just give you what that number would be. So $293 a month is what that maintenance fee looks like every single month. Doesn't include anything in these particular units. There's no amenities. Now, the next one, we're going to show you a little bit more space for your money. This one here sold for $395,000, was listed for $409,000. Almost 1,000 square feet. So between 900 and 1,000 square feet. It was on the market for 40 days. This is in Beachboro, Greenbrook area in Toronto. So it's on Eglinton, 2470 Eglinton Avenue. Now, You may or may not like the area, but the value is here for somebody. Now, when we're talking about when this unit was purchased and for how much, let's see if this is a similar situation to what we're seeing in some of the other units. So no, not quite at all. So this is like an owner from 1989. So good for them. They haven't lost any money here. It's another situation where I'm, happier to see that than anything else. Now let's take a look at what 2 bedrooms, 2 bath looks like. So reasonable kitchen, at least you have a spot for a little table. It's not big by any stretch. Finishes are very simple. You've got your carpet, you've got your ceramic tile in the kitchen there. Got a little bit of a foyer when you enter. Here's the main bedroom. And here's the secondary bedroom. So both of them are good enough for a full-size bed without a question. And then here is your bathroom here. And your second bathroom. So you do have a little bit of storage here as well. You have in-suite laundry, which is not always the case in Toronto, but very simple lobby. You've got the older gym. It's definitely a dated building. But if you needed square footage and you needed space, $395,000, it actually seems fairly affordable. Now, there's always a catch. The older buildings with more square footage, you might already know what the catch is, but the catch is maintenance fee. So when you're looking at a building like this, your maintenance fee, $938 a month. Now this was an estate sale, but the maintenance fee in this case, it's going to cover building insurance, parking, water, common elements, the heat, the hydro. So it does cover some stuff for your money. Is it going to cover enough to make $938 a month worth it? Probably not, but it's better than nothing at all. So the fourth one I want to show you guys, we're going to head to Mississauga here. This one was listed for $439, sold for $415. So once again, we're pulling up some really reasonable prices, and the market is giving us a lot more of these recently than you might expect. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath, older condo again, so expect the maintenance fees to be a little bit higher, 800 to 900 square feet. Now we'll start with the big hit. We'll show you the maintenance, $931, and what are we including in that maintenance? Parking, water, common elements, heat, hydro. So once again, and you do have party room, recreation room, visitor parking, exercise room. So you do get something for your money here. That being said, you just have to keep in mind that there is some additional expense to a maintenance fee like that. It just comes along with an older building and more square footage. It's based off of a lot of different factors. But here is what the living space looked like. Fairly open concept for an older building. Kitchen kind of cornered against the wall there. It's a pretty decent layout. It's very open concept. It could give somebody what they want. Now, the island itself is not ideal. There's no space underneath here for your feet. So you're not really going to have bar stools or anything like that. So you still do need a table of sorts, which is why they do have one. Now, kitchen, simple. Looks like possibly a quartz countertop from what I can tell. Simple cabinetry, white appliances. So nothing in terms of big upgrades have happened on this unit. Now bathroom, looks like they've done a refresh once again on the countertop. Bedroom, decent size. Secondary bedroom, bigger of course. And your balcony and your view here. So that's kind of what you're going to get in an older building. And unlike the last one, you do have coin laundry in the basement, but you don't get it in suite. In suite laundry is something I would definitely want, so you can tell why the price is going to be a little bit lower. You do have your gym inside. It's not a bad sized gym. And to finish it off, we teased it a little bit earlier. There was actually a detached home, and it was in Toronto that sold for under $500,000. It was listed for $500,000, sold for $450,000, but it was actually playing lots of mental gymnastics on the market for a little while here. So this one was actually sold way back in the 80s, but it was listed in 2022 for $650,000. Nothing happened. You can see they've kind of been playing with it over time. They tried again at $530,000, $580,000, and then they ended up listing it at the beginning of August, or September rather, for $499,000, and then they sold it for $450,000. So this one has seen a decent amount of time on market, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you anything exciting about what's going on inside the unit because it is one of those, you are basically purchasing a shell. Renovations will be required inside, and obviously outside, it needs a lot of work. You can barely get into that front door. There's a lot of brush there. Backyard is what it is. It's near Highview Park, and we're just showing off the Birchcliff Heights School here and some of the local things, but this is what you're basically paying for a detached home. You're gonna need to renovate this completely. You are paying for a piece of land, essentially. You may or may not even keep the house itself, but it is a detached home that could be, revamped to your liking in Toronto. And if we're talking about some of the things that you're gonna get here, you do not have any garage, but you still do have one parking spot, which is not a guarantee. The above grade square footage in this home is just over 1,000, so 1,049 square feet. It was built in 1914, so it is an official century home. That just means it's older. Some of the mechanicals might need to be replaced if they already haven't. And obviously, there's a lot of this home that's going to need some work. So this is a segment that I might try again if it's something that interests you. What has sold in the last 7 days in the GTA, different areas. This has been under $500,000. We can do this multiple different ways depending on what you guys want. So drop it in the comment section down below. Would you prefer a video done like this that is strictly condos? Do you want different types of housing? Do you want it based on price point like this? Maybe under $800,000, under $700,000? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you're looking to go house shopping, feel free to scan the barcode down here and we can have a conversation on if it's the right time for you and if it makes sense based on your current situation. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.